Hello my crafty friends, it's Beverleigh here over at Crafting Chaos, and I'm here as promised to show you how to make the Noah's Ark file that you can use to make the 3D picture that I made, or you could just use as a top-up for on your card making, whatever you want. You could resize it a little bit. I wouldn't go too much smaller, particularly for the window, because that's quite small, but you could probably take it down to about 5.5 inches. Okay, so just to save a little bit of time, I've already loaded onto the screen some of the shapes that you're going to need for this tutorial. So let's go through them here. So what you will need is, from your basic shapes, you're going to need to scroll down and you need to bring on this shape, like so, and then you're going to resize it. So it's this one, and you're going to resize it to, just check the size, 6.9 inches by 5.4 inches. So people that like to know the exact size and then they're doing exactly the same, that's fine. Then you'll need to go on the shapes and bring on this like house shape, which can be found here. Let me just find it for you. Just scroll down. By the way, I'm using the downloaded version, and it is here somewhere. I'm just not seeing it. There we are. And I chose this one. Okay, and the dimensions for that shape are 4.59 by 1.73 inches. You're also going to need the rounded square at 1 by 1 inches. You're going to need a little rectangle around about 0.5 by 1.4 inches. You're going to need a bigger rectangle, about 4-ish inches by 2.9. You're going to need the scallop shape, and I'll show you which one I chose. It's this one with the bigger scallops, if you will. But you may choose to use a different one. You're going to need a circle, and I've just put it at 1 inch by 1 inch for now. You're going to need to use this arch shape, which is actually, let me just find it for you. This shape here, but then turned over on by 90 degrees so that it's facing upright. And finally, you're going to need a little triangle, an isosceles triangle, so two sides of the same flat base where the angles are the same at the top, sorry, at the two bottoms, and the one at the different, maybe like so. I think this one actually might be an equilateral triangle, because it looks like they're all the same to me. So 0.75 by 0.64, and that's just for this top bit here. Right, so this is what we're aiming for. I'm just going to move this off to the side. I'll just keep a working copy in case I want to change slightly the arc when I'm making it for other purposes. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to make a shape of our arc. So when you bring this one to the side, I'm just going to move the other ones off the map for now so that we've got them there for when we need them. And I always try to keep a working copy of the file so that just in case I need it for something else. So I'm going to duplicate it and just pop it over here. If I don't need it, I can delete it later. I actually do need one though, so I'm going to just first of all duplicate that one, move it off to the side so it's an exact copy of this one. And all I'm going to do then is elongate this one. And if you can see what's going to happen here, when we cut this, it's going to take that bottom part off, and it's going to give us that nice boat, sort of rounded boat shape. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to select both and align them centrally, and then checking that this one is on top, and we do that by clicking in the overlap, and if that one selects, it's on top. And making sure that they're both selected, we're going down to process the overlap, which is in the edit menu, and we're going to hit subtract. So that's give us that nice boat shape. Okay, so now I'm going to take a duplicate of that and put it to one side, and I'm going to take another duplicate because we do need that one as well. So again, I'm going to bring on that shape again. So again, take a duplicate and pop it onto the side. We can always delete them later. So what I'm going to make here is this trim part here. So all I'm doing is lining it up so I think it's a nice width. I'm dragging it across a little. I'm going to take it up a little bit there. And when I'm happy with that, I think that will make a nice trim. I'm going to select both. Again, you can make sure that one is on top. Now this one's on top at this stage, so we need to arrange and bring that one to the front. So now when we click in the crossover, that's the one that's selected, so that's the one that's on top. And again, I'm just going to line them up centrally in the align function, just centrally, and then I'm going to process the overlap and subtract. Oh, excuse me, it's not subtract I want for this one actually. It's select everything. Let me just go back to where we was, and we want to break it apart because I want all the pieces. So I'm going to move it off. I don't need that one anymore, and we can remove that one and that one, and we just need this one that's going to fit the top of our arc perfectly, like so later. Okay, so again, let's make sure that we've got the working copy. So just make it, we can delete it later, always make a copy because it's easier to do it now and then realise you should have done it later. We're going to move that off to the side for now because we've finished with that, but I'm going to give it a colour to remind me that that's a finished piece, like so. Next, I'm going to bring on the square shape, so just bringing on the square shape, and we're going to be making this part now, which is the centre part of the arc. So I'm going to select both, I'm going to bring them down the square so it's just slightly overlapping, and again we're going to use that centre function so it puts the house of the arc, if you will, in the centre, and then we're going to weld those two together. So this will give us a backing part for our arc that is going to be something that we can build the rest onto, if you will. So I'm going to take a duplicate of this and place it, so that's where you would then place that separate piece there. Now I've broken my own rule, so we'll just take that back a couple of steps before we get to the, let's hope we can go back far enough because I need that square. So I'm just going to duplicate that. We can always delete it later, and we're going to need, I'm going to duplicate that one. So once we've got that lined up, we can put our house top on, if you will, and we're going to line all the shapes up centrally, and we're going to join them together. So that's give us the base shape for the arc. So we've made this part nearly, and we've made the trim. So let's make this top bit here. So again, we're going to just move that one up and out of the way for a minute, and I'm going to make that back piece yellow, like so, so that it will show. Now where's my other piece? Here. Now I'm going to line this up with this piece. Oops, I think I've got my snap to grid on, and I'll just take that off if I have. So I want to be able to nudge it across. Just, oops, where's it gone now? It's gone behind. So I'm just going to bring that back to the front, and I'm just going to position it so that it's just in exactly the same place as my arc. Okay, gone too far. So just using the arrow keys, move it along until it's perfectly lined up with the piece that you've got there. So again, we're a little bit too high, and one more down should do it. I think that's exactly where it is now. And again, I'm just going to position this one directly on top. Okay, so that's in exactly the same place now. Just going to send that layer to the back for now, send to the back, and I just need to go one more space, two more spaces to the right. So now I'm going to select that piece and the square, and we're going to first of all take a duplicate and stick it off to the side. Oops. We're going to select those two, and we're going to weld those together. So then we've got a separate copy of this part for the when we build this up, so you can naturally make that at one colour. If I move this, I'm feeling I've changed the size of that somewhere along the line, but it's not quite the same. Oh, I've brought on the other piece. That's the piece from my original arc. No wonder I was confused. Let's just see where we are. Let's bring on the right piece here. We are, no, I've deleted it. Let's see. Just bring that back. It's over here somewhere. There it is. Right, so I'm just going to move that off to the side. So that is the old arc. So let's put these old pieces down here so that we're not messed up. That's it. So it was confusing me a little. So that's the piece that's going to fit on there, that you can make whatever colour you wish when you print it out. I'm just going to line it up so we can see where we're at. So that will fit on there perfectly. And you could do that whatever colour you want. But now we're going to work on the porthole windows. Now, to do that, we need our circle, which we've brought on at the start. So I'm just going to bring it on, and I'm going to go into the edit menu and create an offset, and I want it to go outwards by about 0.254, say, for example, like so. Okay, I'm going to just send that one to the back that we've just made. And I'm just going to make a duplicate. It's not gone to the back. Should be able to get that one. And we're going to take a copy of the small one. Then we're going to select both. We're going to go on edit menu, process overlap, subtract. Now that's a finished shape, and we're going to need 3 of those. So we're going to duplicate it so that we've got 3 for later. And we'll just make them black so we know that's a finished shape. So I'm just going to turn them black, like so. I meant to select them all. Not a problem, we'll do it now. So we'll make them black. And what we're going to do now is put the portholes in position. Now this is where we're going to use this function, which is this alignment function here, to distribute these evenly. So I'm going to take 3 copies of this so that I've got 1 to work with to the side. And I'm going to position them roughly so that they're lined up together, like so, where I think they'll look right. And remember, I've got to allow for this piece to be on. So they could just do to be a little bit lower. So I'm just going to move them down a little. Just moving them down just roughly by eye, and I'm just going to move that piece back off to the side. So now I'm going to select all 3 of them. I'm going to line them up to the bottom, so now we know that they're all equidistant away from the bottom of the boat, if you will. And I'm going to make my spacing. We'll try it at 1 and see what it looks like, and then we're going to hit this horizontal distribution, which means then it'll put them each at 1 inch apart. Okay, so then if we're liking how that looks, we can select all 3 circles, and we then, by holding your shift key down, select them all, and we're going to group them. That way then we can position them centrally to our arc like so. So all I've done is selected the arc space and the circles. Just show you that once more. So select them both and then align object center. The last thing we need to do is select both, and then we need to punch these holes out so they're actually a hole. So again, process the overlap and subtract. Now that's actually punched those holes out, and if you pull the boat down, you can see that. If we put something brown, you can see the hole. Let's put some colour in, that's the easiest way to show it. So now you can see that the holes have been punched out, and because we did this, just bring this to the front now, arrange and bring to the front. That will fit now perfectly over your little portholes, if you will, because it was made from the same size triangle. So that's another finished piece, so we can put that off to the side. These are finished pieces, they're off to the side. Now, let's see what we need to work on next. So we've got our house, if you will, here. So now we're going to work, I'm going to move that off to the side because that's a finished piece, and this is going off to the side because this is a finished piece. And I'm going to bring on our scalloped rectangle, take a duplicate because we're going to need a few duplicates of this to get this layered effect. So what I'm going to do is position this over the centre of that, just get rid of the colours, line them up centrally again because we want everything in the middle. So we know now that's in the middle of the house. So we can see that that's looking okay. And what we want to do is cut it off around here. So what we're going to do is grab this rectangle. I'm going to take a duplicate because we will need another one. And I'm going to bring it down and I'm just going to line it up best I can with this intersection here, if you will, where one scallop ends and another one starts. And I'm going to drag it across, and then I'm going to select both the scallop and the rectangle, and I've got to make sure that the rectangle is on top. So again, and it is, so we select both and subtract, and that will give us the first layer of the shingles, if you will, for the arc top. I mean, you could just leave it as a house shape, but I thought this just made it look a little bit cuter. So I'm just going to give that the lightest colour of green. So let's go with this one. Oops, wrong piece selected. Let's undo that. So then we can do that and select that one. So now we're going to move this onto our shape again, and first of all we're going to position it I'm going to shrink it down a little. Actually no, I'm not doing that, that's not what I did, because I wanted them to stay relatively the same size. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut that off again using the rectangle. Let's take a duplicate, move it off to the side, select both, and we're going to subtract using the process overlap and subtract. That's given us that bit, and now what we need to do now is cut off. Well, I did make it, I think I made it smaller at this stage though, and I haven't got quite low enough there. If that happens, I suggest you just go back in and just repeat the step, because you don't want those odd bits of file left on there to cause your cutter an issue. I've left that one on underneath then, so I just need to bring it to the front, and we're going to subtract. Then all I did is I just took it in a little bit that way, moved it down so it's overlapping. We'll give that another colour, like so, a slightly darker one, and we can now duplicate that, and again we're going to go a little bit smaller, bring it down, give that another colour, that colour, whichever, and then once more duplicate, just take it down a smidge again and bring it to the top so that we've got that house shape. And there you have it. So then if I just select everything and line it all up centrally, you can get an idea of what it's actually going to look like when it's cut. So you've got that nice overlapping going on. Okay, now if you think that one's a little bit tall, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to chop the top off a little bit using my rectangle, so making sure that the rectangle's on top. So we're going to click on it, right click, arrange, bring to the front, and then we're just going to subtract so that that top shingle is a little bit less. It doesn't matter that the other one's taller because it's already underneath something, but this one just could have done with being a little bit better like that. So the next thing we're going to do is make the chimney, and simply that is just, when I find the shapes, I've put them off to this side, haven't I? So we need this one and this one. Whoops, bring them on. So we're going to make the chimney, and we simply just need a copy of those two. So I'm just going to duplicate those so we've got them spare if we need them, which you might if you want to mat it on top different colours. So all I'm going to do is get them so they're just about overlapping, select and align object center, and then weld. So that's created the chimney, and we know that those other two pieces will fit because we made them from those pieces. All right, so now we're going to work on the window. So we're going to bring in this one. Now we've got the roof on, we can see, sorry, I should have left that where it was. Let me just undo that. Now that we've got the roof on, and I'm just going to drag that in a little bit and round it off because I didn't like the way it was too pointed at that end. I'm just going to undo that and zoom in so I can see what you're doing and I'm doing, and you can see what to do. So I'm just going to zoom in on that piece, just on that particular piece, and then we can see the nodes together. And you can leave it as is if you wish. I'm just going to add a node in between those two. I'll just go back a step. When we selected the shape, I've got that one. If you notice, that node selected there, and that line isn't black, it's now turquoise. So what I can do is add a node. And I'm going to select that one now and add another node. Select that one and add another node. I can select this one and add a couple of nodes. I'm just going to move this one down a little bit this way. And then I want to make, edit undo, hang on, because I've got that wonky now. So I think for this bit, it's better being on snap to grid. And then if I just line it up using that, oh, didn't mean to do that. I'm just going to click on my shape, got it on snap to grid now, so we should be able to work better now with the nodes. So if I click on it and add a node, I should be able to drag it down where I need it. Yeah, and then I'm going to click this one and add another node, which is up here, add node. You can skip this out if you wish. Now when I'm dragging it across, it's dragging it nice and straight. And if I select that one now and make it a curve, I should be able to round off, whoops, make that one a curve. I should be able to now, if I hide the control points so they're not confusing us, make it a little bit more curved, if you will. And I seem to have got too many nodes here now, so I'm just going to delete that one. So you just have to play around until, I think I'll bring the handles back. It might be easier to control with the handles. There. Oh, I had it then. There. So that's what I'm looking for. I'm liking now that. Can you see how that area is more curved than this one here? So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take a duplicate and I'm going to flip it. On that axis so it goes opposite, and then I'm going to line both shapes up centrally and vertically, and I'm going to weld them together. Oh. Okay, I'm going to use that one then to cut that one out. I'm going to take a duplicate. Not letting us weld for some reason. Right, I'll have to do it manually then. So let's just get this node here and let's make it curved, and let's see if we can just, oh no, that's not right, not the right node. Edit undo. Okay, let's try it a different way. I'll try chopping a chunk off that, because that's it's going to be difficult to get a mirror image node. So I'm just going to try chopping it off. Okay, so we can get rid of, double click it to expose the nodes, get rid of that piece. Let's see if it'll let us just position that over. I need the snap to grid off now, so sorry I go quiet when I'm concentrating, so that I can actually position it where it needs to be. Still on snap to grid. It's very annoying today. Okay. Let's see what happens if we subtract it, because I have a feeling that's going to get rid of it. Oh dear. Not what we wanted at all, that is it. See if it will let us weld now. Now it's welded. Let's just remove these nodes now that are in the wrong place. I'm going to just do that for a second. Move it back. I just want to, oh dear, getting on the nodes. Let's just see if we can drag that node in out of the way. Click on that one. Let's see if we can weld it now. There, that's how we've done it now. So we've got it just about right. Just got a rogue node to get rid of there. Like I said, that's just me wanting it to be perfect. I can't help if I can sort it out, I have to do it. It's just a compulsion that I have. So now to me that looks much better. So you could just omit that step altogether if you wish. So I'm just going to move these up a little bit, because what we're going to be doing now is working on the door, which is going to come here. I'm going to just move it up a little bit so that it allows us to stick it behind this piece here. I'm going to take a duplicate, and then I'm just going to select the door, which is not on top now. So we now need to click off, send the house part to the back, then click on that, and then the house, and we can subtract. So that's effectively punched the hole. So let's just give that some colour so you can see what it's actually done. That's what we've got. Now we want to make a piece that's going to go around. So again, using our offset, we're going to do the same offset what we've already done before, but we don't want it so fat. So let's just do it again. Select, offset it, and I think we're going to just go by 16 this time. Yeah, that's perfect. So we just need to send that big one to the back, not to the front, to the back. Come on, Beverleigh, you can do this. Select both and then subtract. Oh no, it mustn't have been on top. Right, so we need that one to be on top, the small one, so it's not sent it properly to the back. So we're definitely sending it to the back. I think I clicked the right one that time. Then we should be able to subtract, and if we give it some colour now, let's make it visible. So that's where you do. Actually, we're going to have the yellow behind, so we'll make it grey to match what we've got in the diagram. And again, that's going to fit perfectly there. So next we're going to work on the window. So bring in your rounded rectangle like so. And we're going to, first of all, take a duplicate because we will need another one. And then we're going to, create an offset. So we're going to do exactly what we've just done in the last step. So create an offset, same as what we've just had. Say OK. So now we know that that opening is going to be the same as that size in there. But again, it's going to have us in the wrong order. So we need to send that back one to the very back. Then we can subtract like so. So what we need to do, you don't need to do this step if you don't want, but I just think it looks better. I'm going to go back to this little rectangle and take a duplicate and bring it down onto the mat. So remember, those were the spare parts for the chimney. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to look at my size, and I want it to be width about 1/4 of an inch. We'll see what that looks like. And height, we'll have it at about 1 inch. So we don't want the aspect ratio on, so we said 0.25. We'll try 0.20 up. Okay, so that looks like it's going to be okay. Will it reach? If it doesn't quite reach, I'm just going to extend it slightly by eye, just so I know that it's going to fit from one side to the other and have enough of an overlap to weld, and that'll work. So now I'm going to take a duplicate of that, rotate it by 90 degrees, and I'm going to select them both, centre and vertical them, so that you've got this cross thing. I'm going to weld them together like so. Then I'm going to select the window and that, line them up centrally and vertically, and I'm going to weld those shapes together. So that is going to give us our window pane here. So again, if we give that some colour, you can see what we've made, and that it has actually done what we wanted it to do. And if you don't do the subtract, it won't do it. So again, this one's going to be yellow, and it's going to sit behind the window like so. And we'd have that one here. There's your door. And we need the other door. Don't tell me I didn't do a copy. Broke my own rule. Anyway, what you could just do is put something from behind that you just cut yourself a yellow piece, or if all else fails, let's zoom fit to mat, and then we can see what we've got around, because I've got everything everywhere now. So we just need another one of those shapes. Bring it on, shrink it down. I can't remember what size we said it was at the start, but you've got the details at the start if you made a note of that, so it'd be easier for you to do this. I'm going to rotate it by 90, and then I'm going to shrink it down so that it fits. I'm not going to worry if it's a bit too big, as long as it can fit behind without showing for this part of the tutorial. So then that will go centre the back, so you can see what we're doing. Centre back, that will be behind the door, giving us that look of that. Right, so I'm going to select these parts of the roof now, because we're getting to the point. So holding my shift key down, this one, and we're going to layer and arrange, bring to front. So now they're all at the front. Where's our big part of the Noah's Ark? Where's it gone? Where's our building piece? Here we are. It's here. Well, it was. Now I've lost it. Display. Here we are. You can always go really small to find it. Like so. So you're going to build everything onto that. And if you do your base card in yellow, you don't even need to worry about that part. Okay. So there's that part. There's the other part for the, again, that'll be at the front now. Like so. So it's just going to cover. And remember, you can just position that wherever it needs to be. That's not that part. I'm doing it again. This one. Okay, so that's going to go there. Bring it to the front. There's your arc part. These are your portholes. Again, we'll just bring one to the front so you can see. We're nearly there now. Here's our chimney. And just slot in behind. You can have it as tall or as short as you want, and we could have a nice different coloured top on it, and layer that on top with a different colour, a different coloured cardstock, layer, arrange, bring to front. So that's got that there, so just move it down into position so you can get the idea. And with just the trim to bring across, now again we need to bring it to the front. All the things that are at the front need to be at the front. Now all I did just to make mine hang over a little bit is I just elongated it just a tiny bit, so that you get that feeling that it's slightly like a little ridge, if you will, and it just does work out. Now as you can see on my file, and I'm not going to do them all because it just takes forever, but you can go along and do as much or as little as you want. If you wish to put a 4-stitch line on things so that you're getting this, let me just zoom in and show you, and I think it really does add something to the finished project. All you'd need to do is on every single piece that you want to have 4-stitched is follow this exact, what I'm telling you now. Click on it, the piece that you want the stitch in, and we're going to be on the edit menu, create an offset, and we want it outward, but we only want it just, sorry, inward, but only just inward. And that will bring it on, and we want it to do, not, let's go back to outward again first, because then it'll let us deselect that one, inward. So we want that unselected so that it'll also go around the portholes as well if you didn't want to use the black overlay to stick them on. Say OK, and you'll see that puts a line, a solid line around that's just 0.04 inches away from your original line. So if we click to select that line, we then need to make it a dash line, which looks like your 4-stitching, and change it to a drawing line, like so. What I would do then is select the cut line, which is that one. We know it's the cut line and it's solid, so we can see that's the one we've got selected. Hold your shift key down and select the line that we've just created, and then group them. That means then we can move that around and it's not going to mess about. And when you put that on your scan and cut and you select draw, it will only draw the perforated lines. Then you would cut it and it will only cut the cut lines. So that's how you do an offset and create this 4-stitch line. Right, so that's it for this tutorial. That's how you make the nose arc file. I hope you'll enjoy and have some fun with it. I'll include you can see the picture of what it looks like in the shadow box frame that I've made for my grandchild for his nursery, but it would look really, really cute on a card, a greeting card for christening, birthday, you know, for a toddler, or you could put little Velcro animals in and put the sticky Velcro on so that the child could move the animals around on the paper arc and really just make it fun. I am including a picture file in a Word document with the little animals that I use. Now be aware, I took them from the internet and I did Google for free images, and in the most part I tried to verify that they were free to use. Some of them were only free for personal use, however. So if you are intending to make the arc and use the pictures that I've provided, just be aware that some of them you are only allowed to use for personal use. So as long as you're not using them and making a profit, that's fine. But if you were selling your file, then you would have to look for some alternative images and make sure you stick to the copyright. Okay, that's just a word of warning. If you want to risk it, that's entirely your choice. I'm not saying do and I'm not saying don't, but I don't tend to make things to sell anyway. Mine are mainly for family things and gifts, things that I gift out to people. But just a word of warning. Alright, so I hope you've enjoyed the tutorial. Remember to like, share and subscribe. I will be putting it up on my blog, all the files that you need, because I did include the waves that you need for the background and the rainbow and the cloud files are all in there They're actually all things that we've done before, I think, in tutorials, but I've just put them all in a one grab place, if you will, with the file, so that you'll be able to see it when you actually log onto my blog. If you haven't had a look at my blog, I encourage you to have a look over there at Beverleigh10 at beverleigh10.blogspot, and it's Leigh for the Beverleigh, because there are lots of files on there, and some that are not actually gone to video, that have just gone straight to file, and they're available on my blog. And I wouldn't want you to miss out on things if there was maybe something on there that you would like. So that's it for now. Like I say, tell your friends where to find me. I hope you've enjoyed the video, and I'll see you all soon. Thanks for watching. Have a fantastic day. Bye.